Have you ever wondered why? While everyone around you seems to be pairing off, you remain single? What if I told you that your solitude isn't a punishment but a preparation? What if your singleness is actually a divine assignment? Today we're diving deep into Carl Jung's profound psychological insights to understand why some souls are meant to walk alone, not out of rejection, but out of selection. This video might completely change how you see your journey. If you've ever felt like you're the chosen one walking a different path, this message is specifically for you. Stay until the end, because the final revelation might be exactly what you need to hear right now. Act 1, The Paradox of Modern Solitude. Narrator, let's start with a question that's probably kept you awake at night. What's wrong with me? Here's the truth. Absolutely nothing. But our society has conditioned us to believe that being single past a certain age is somehow a failure. We're bombarded with engagement photos, wedding invitations, and baby announcements. Social media makes it seem like everyone has found the one except you. Imagine Sarah, 32 years old, successful career, amazing friend group, but single. At every family gathering, the questions come. When are you going to settle down? You're too picky. Your biological clock is ticking. Sarah starts to internalize these messages. She begins to wonder if something is fundamentally broken within her. But what if Sarah and perhaps you are not broken at all? What if you're being refined? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who revolutionized our understanding of the human psyche, had a fascinating perspective on solitude. He believed that certain individuals are called to what he termed individuation, a process of becoming whole, of integrating all aspects of the self. Jung said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." This awakening, this looking inside, requires something precious and increasingly rare in our world: solitude. Not loneliness, but sacred solitude. There's a profound difference. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. Loneliness depletes you. Solitude replenishes you. And some people, the chosen ones, are given extended periods of solitude not as punishment, but as preparation for something extraordinary. Engagement prompt. If this is resonating with you, type "chosen" in the comments. Let's build a community of people who understand that their journey is unique. Act 2. The 7 Reasons for Divine Solitude. So why does God, or the universe, or your higher self, whatever resonates with you, keep certain people single? Through Jung's lens, combined with spiritual wisdom, there are 7 profound reasons. Reason 1, you're learning to love yourself first. Jung believed that we cannot truly love another until we've integrated our own shadow, all those parts of ourselves we've rejected or denied. Think about it. How many relationships have you seen where 2 incomplete people come together, expecting the other to fill their voids? It becomes a relationship of dependency, not love. They're not 2 wholes creating something greater. They're 2 halves desperately clinging to each other. Terrified of drowning, your season of singleness is teaching you the most important love affair you'll ever have, the one with yourself. You're learning that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to see it. You're discovering that you can take yourself on dates, celebrate your wins, comfort yourself during losses, and be genuinely happy in your own company. Jung called this developing a relationship with your anima or animus, the inner feminine or masculine. When you can embrace and love these aspects within yourself, you stop desperately seeking them outside yourself. This doesn't mean you become completely self-sufficient, or that you won't want partnership. It means you'll choose partnership from a place of wholeness, not neediness. You'll want someone, not need someone, and that makes all the difference. Reason 2, you're breaking generational patterns. Have you noticed patterns in your family? Maybe divorce runs through generations. Maybe codependency is the norm. Perhaps emotional unavailability or toxic. Relationships are what you grew up witnessing. Jung spoke extensively about the collective unconscious, inherited patterns and traumas passed down through generations. Sometimes God keeps you single because you're the pattern breaker. You're the one who's going to stop the cycle. Your grandmother might have stayed in a loveless marriage because that's what women did. Your mother might have jumped from relationship to relationship, terrified of being alone. But you're being given the time and space to heal these wounds, not just for yourself, but for your entire lineage. This is sacred work. You're not just living your life, you're rewriting your family's story. Your future children, if you choose to have them, won't inherit these broken patterns because you had the courage to sit in solitude and do the inner work. If you felt like your standards are too high or you're too picky, maybe it's because you instinctively know you're meant to break the pattern. You won't settle for the dysfunction that previous generations accepted as normal. Reason 3, you're developing your unique gifts. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Relationships, especially early on, are time-consuming. They require energy, attention, and emotional bandwidth. Jung believed each person has a unique purpose, a specific contribution only they can make. He called aspects of this your personal myth, the story only you can live and tell. Think about some of history's greatest contributions. Many came from people who spent significant time in solitude. Einstein developing his theories, Maya Angelou writing her poetry, Steve Jobs in his garage, J.K. Rowling as a single mother writing in cafes. Now, I'm not saying you can't be successful in a relationship, but I am saying that your season of singleness might be giving you the uninterrupted time to develop gifts that would be harder to cultivate if you were splitting your attention. Maybe you're building a business, learning a skill, healing from trauma, developing your creativity, deepening your spirituality. These things require focus, dedication, and often solitude. What if your singleness isn't about lack, it's about focus? God isn't keeping love from you. God is keeping distractions from you so you can become who you're meant to be. Reason 4, you're raising your standards. Jung talked about the shadow, the parts of ourselves, and others we don't want to see. But he also emphasized not ignoring red flags or settling for less than authentic connection. Your extended singleness might be God's way of teaching you what you will and won't accept. Every situationship that didn't work out, every person who showed you who they were, these weren't failures. They were lessons. You've learned. You won't accept breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole meal. You won't tolerate being someone's option when you know you're meant to be someone's priority. You won't shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. You won't ignore your intuition when it's screaming red flags. You won't settle for surface-level connection when your soul craves depth. Your friends might say you're too picky. Your family might say you're unrealistic. But deep down, you know better. You're not being picky, you're being selective. There's a difference. Jung said we should know thyself. Part of knowing yourself is knowing what you deserve and refusing to accept less. Your season of singleness is calibrating your internal compass so you can recognize real love when it arrives. Reason 5, you're healing deep wounds. This might be the most important reason of all. Perhaps you're single because you're healing, and real healing cannot be rushed. Maybe you came from a painful childhood. Perhaps you experienced betrayal, abandonment, or abuse. Maybe past relationships left scars you're still tending to. God isn't keeping you single as punishment for your pain. God is keeping you single as protection during your healing. Imagine trying to heal a broken bone while someone keeps bumping into it. That's what entering a relationship before you've healed can feel like. Healing requires time to sit with uncomfortable emotions, space to process without someone else's needs demanding your attention, freedom to fall apart and reassemble without an audience, permission to be too much or not enough without judgment, safety to explore your darkness without someone trying to fix you. Your solitude is your healing chamber. And when you emerge whole, integrated, healed, you'll be capable of a love you never could have experienced in your broken state. Reason 6, you're being protected from the wrong person. Sometimes God's protection looks like rejection. Sometimes the closed door you're crying about is actually saving your life. Think about it. Every person who wasn't right for you, no matter how much you wanted them, didn't work out. Not because you weren't enough, but because they weren't right. Jung believed in synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, orchestrated by the universe. Sometimes the bad luck in your love life is actually divine. Intervention steering you away from disaster. Years from now, you'll look back at the relationships that didn't happen and whisper thank you. Thank you that they ghosted. Thank you for that rejection. Thank you for that unanswered text. Because all of it was clearing the path for what's actually meant for you. Your singleness might be God's way of saying not yet or not them. And either way, it's protection. Reason 7. You're being prepared for an extraordinary love. Here's the beautiful truth that makes everything worthwhile. Ordinary preparation is for ordinary things. Extraordinary preparation is for extraordinary love. You're not single because love has forgotten you. You're single because the love meant for you requires the version of you that you're becoming. Jung's entire philosophy centers on becoming your fullest, most authentic self. When two people who've done this inner work come together, it's not just a relationship, it's alchemy. Imagine a love where you don't have to pretend or perform. Your past is met with compassion, not judgment. Your growth is celebrated, not threatened. Your solitude taught you contentment, so together you create joy, not dependency. Your healing makes space for healthy love, not repetitive trauma. Your standards attracted someone who meets them effortlessly. This is what you're being prepared for, not a mediocre love that you have to convince yourself is enough. Not a situationship that leaves you confused. Not a relationship that drains you, but a love that feels like coming home. Act 3, living as the chosen one. So now you understand why. But how do you actually live as the chosen one during this season? How do you thrive in solitude instead of just surviving it? Practice. 1. Embrace the journey. First, stop treating your singleness as a waiting room. This is not the preview. This is your life, happening right now. Jung emphasized active engagement with life. So, take that trip you've been postponing until you have someone to go with. Pursue that hobby that excites you. Invest in friendships with the energy you've been saving for a partner. Create the life you want now, not the life you'll have when. You're not waiting for your life to start when someone arrives. You're living so fully that when the right person comes, they'll enhance an already beautiful life, not complete an empty one. Practice 2. Do the shadow work. Jung's most important contribution was shadow work, exploring the parts of yourself you've rejected, denied, or hidden. Ask yourself, what patterns keep repeating in my relationships? What am I afraid of in intimacy? Where am I still seeking validation I didn't get in childhood? What parts of myself do I hide from others? Where do I abandon myself to please others? Journal, meditate, consider therapy. Read Jung's work. Do personality assessments. The goal isn't perfection, it's integration. It's becoming whole by accepting all of who you are. Practice 3. Develop your intuition. Solitude is the classroom where intuition is taught. In silence, you can finally hear your inner voice. Practice listening to your gut. That feeling that tells you someone isn't right? Trust it. That sense that you should wait? Honor it. That knowing that you're exactly where you're meant to be? Believe it. Jung said, intuition does not denote something contrary to reason, but something outside of the province of reason. Your rational mind wants to figure out your love life. Your intuition already knows. Practice 4. Build your identity beyond relationships. Who are you beyond who you date? What defines you outside of romantic relationship status? Many people realize they've built their entire identity around being someone's partner. When they're single, they feel lost because they've abandoned themselves for so long. This season is about reclaiming you, your interests that got abandoned for partners' preferences, your dreams that got shelved for someone else's priorities, your voice that got quieted to keep the peace, your energy that got poured into fixing or changing someone else, your values that got compromised for companionship. When you finally know who you are, you can't be with just anyone. You'll only be with someone who complements your authentic self, not someone you have to become someone else for. Practice 5. Trust divine timing. This is perhaps the hardest but most important practice. Trust. Everything in nature has a season. Seeds don't force growth. Flowers don't bloom ahead of schedule. Caterpillars can't rush the cocoon. Why would your life be any different? Your love story has divine timing. Not too early, not too late. Exactly when you're ready. Exactly when they're ready. Exactly when the version of love you're meant to experience can actually exist. This trust brings peace. You stop desperately searching. You stop settling out of fear. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You rest in knowing that what's meant for you will find you, and it will be worth every moment of waiting. Act 4. The transformation. Let me paint you a picture of the transformation that happens when you fully embrace this journey. Remember Sarah from the beginning? Let me tell you what happened when she shifted her perspective. Instead of seeing her singleness as a problem to fix, Sarah saw it as an opportunity to grow. She stopped going on dates with men she knew weren't right. Just to avoid being alone, she started therapy. She traveled to places she'd always dreamed of. She launched the business she'd been planning for years. She learned to make herself laugh. She discovered she was actually great company. She stopped checking her phone, hoping someone had texted, and started being present in her own life. And something remarkable happened. The desperation left. The anxiety quieted. She stopped feeling like she was missing out and started feeling like she was exactly where she was meant to be. Her friends noticed. "You're glowing," they said. "You seem different, lighter, happier." Sarah smiled because she knew what they didn't. She'd finally come home to herself. This is what's available to you. Not eventually, not someday, but right now. The transformation from lonely to whole, from desperate to peaceful, from waiting to living. Jung spent his life studying the path to wholeness. He knew that the chosen ones, those who dare to look within, to walk the path of individuation, emerge transformed. They become who they were always meant to be. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop needing someone to complete you, you become magnetic to someone who wants to complement you. When you stop seeking your worth in another's eyes, you attract someone who recognizes your inherent value. When you stop settling out of fear, you create space for something real. So, chosen one, here's what I want you to remember. Your singleness is not a punishment. It's a preparation. Not a problem, but a process. Not evidence of your insufficiency, but proof of your importance. You're not single because you're not enough. You're single because you're becoming someone extraordinary. And extraordinary love requires an extraordinary you. God hasn't forgotten you. The universe hasn't overlooked you. Your person hasn't missed you. You're exactly on time. The loneliness you feel? It's growing pains. Your soul expanding to make room for the love you're being prepared for. The waiting you're doing? It's not passive. It's active transformation. Every day you choose yourself. You're writing a different story than the one you inherited. And one day you'll meet someone, and you'll understand. Every closed door made sense. Every no was leading to this yes. Every moment alone was preparing you for this together. But until then, live. Fully. Unapologetically, beautifully live. Because you're not waiting for your life to start. You're already living the most important chapter. The one where you learn to love yourself. If this message resonated with you, I want you to do 3 things. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You're part of a community now, people who understand that the journey to love begins with the journey to self. Second, drop a comment sharing where you are in your journey. Are you fighting your season or embracing it? Let's support each other. And third, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's feeling discouraged, who thinks they're behind, who's questioning their worth because they're still single. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and you're right on time. Until next time, chosen one, keep walking your path.